This short video in our ratio, proportion, and percent module is on how to convert between percents, decimals, and fractions. So you need to be able to do each of the following. And I'm going to go through each of these and just give you a few examples. So first, to write a percent as a decimal, very, very easy. You drop the percent sign and you move the decimal point. I'm going to do some abbreviating so I don't take so long writing. You move the decimal point 2 places to the left. Now, rather than trying to remember when do I move it left and when do I move it right, I'm going to show you a little trick for kind of remembering that. So in example 1, we're going to take each percent and write it as a decimal. So since we're going away from it being a percent, we're going to go away from the percent sign. So that's how you remember. So you drop it and you move away 2 places. So it's 0.23 or 23 hundredths. Again, drop it, move it 2 places. You're going to have to fill in with a 0, 0.046. Drop it, move 2 places, so 1.90. You don't have to show that last 0. So it still has a decimal in it. This is more than 100%, but it's always, the key here is always moving it 2 places. Percent actually means per hundred, and in decimal land, hundreds are always 2 places. Here we drop it, and even though there's a decimal there, we still move 2 places away from the decimal point. So it becomes 0.0074. It gets smaller. Drop it, move it 2, and you end up with that. Drop it, move it 2, and fill in, and you end up with that. So actually very, very simple to change a percent to a decimal. To write as a percent as a fraction, what you do is you also drop the percent sign and then you put the number over 100 and you simplify if it can be simplified. So let's try one of those. So we drop it, we write what's left, 40 over 100, because that's what that means, 40 out of 100, 40%, same thing. Now we're going to simplify. Divide by 10 and then divide by 2 and you end up with 2/5. If you need to see that, I divided by the GCF of 2. Drop it, write what's left over 100. We learned in another section you can't leave a decimal in a fraction, so I only need to move it 1 place. So I got to move it 1 place in the denominator, which causes me to have to add a 0. Here we drop it, we put it over 100, and now I'm going to simplify by dividing by the GCF, which is 25, and I end up with 5/4. This one is kind of strange. Drop it, write what's left over 100, but now we have to simplify that. So how do we simplify it? We change this to an improper fraction. So 3 times 33 is 99, and 1 is 100 thirds over 100. So what that means is 100 thirds divided by 100, and we know how to do that. 100 thirds, keep, change, flip, cross cancel, and you end up with just 1/3. I'll tell you what's easier. Memorize that 33 1/3% is equal to 1/3. 50% is a half, 33 1/3 is a third, 66 2/3% is 2/3. It's just easier to memorize that. Drop it, write it over 100, it equals 1. Drop it, put it over 100, you can't leave the decimal, move it 2 places, add 2 zeros. Now I got to simplify that. Not knowing what goes in, I'm just going to divide by 2 and see if that's the GCF. That's going to give me 21 over 5,000, and that is in simplest form. So that is how you change a percent to a fraction. Drop it, put it over 100. Let's keep going. To write a decimal as a percent, which is just the opposite of writing the percent as the decimal, what we're going to do is move the decimal point 2 places right. So we're going in the opposite direction of the first thing we did. And we add a percent sign. And again, rather than memorizing it, let me show you what we want to do. We want to go towards a percent sign. So you move it towards 2 places. So that is 65%. 2 places, 125, add your percent. 2 places, 1.2%. Do not move more than 2. You're not moving it to the end. You're moving it 2 places. 2 places, meaning fill in with a 0. 60%. 2 places, 5.7%. 2 places, 175%. This is probably the hardest one, and it isn't hard. It's just a little more involved. To write a fraction as a percent, you first write the fraction as a decimal, and then you go back to this. Write the decimal as a percent, and then decimal to percent. So there's 2 steps. And I'm going to show you a shortcut on a couple of them. 7/20. How do I write that fraction as a percent? Well, I first have to write it as a decimal. And how do we write fractions as decimals? You divide the denominator into the numerator. You know, I'm not kidding. That's how you do it. So I have to add a decimal and a 0. Bring that decimal point straight up. 20 into 70 goes 3 times. Subtract, add another one, bring down. And I end up, now that's my decimal. That's my decimal. To write it as a percent, I move it 2 places and add the percent sign. But I'm going to show you a shortcut that only works on certain ones. If I could rewrite this as a fraction whose denominator is 100, and I can because 20 goes into 100, 20 times 5 is 100, so multiply this by 5. Anytime you have a fraction over 100, you have your percent. So 35 hundredths is 35%. Now this one I can't do with that shortcut because 3 doesn't go into 100, so I can't change it to a fraction over 100. So I have no choice. I have to do my division method. Denominator into numerator. 3 into 20 goes 6 times, and what happens, as you can see, is it's going to keep repeating. So now that I move it 2 places, I'm going to call that 66 point, I'm going to round that off, 7%. Or you can memorize that 2/3 is 66.7 or 66 2/3%. This one is kind of interesting. There's an easy way to do it. There's a couple ways to do it. It's 2 1/4. So I first want to change it to an improper 9/4. Now you could divide 4 into 9. That would be the long method. Or I can say, wait, I can change that to a fraction over 100. 4 times 25 makes 100. So 9 times 25 makes 225. So it is 225%. Or I could say there's 2 parts to that fraction. It's 2 and it's 1/4. 2 means 2 whole pieces. So that's 2 100% or 200%. 1/4 is 25%. Add them together and you get 225%. So if you can reason through it like that, that's perfectly fine.